dun. Hello, everyone. Welcome, God damn it. It is a pleasure once again to be able to serve you this evening on another Monday here on the MrWarrenHayes show live stream that we do every Monday and Thursday, but today is Monday. Is the first day of the week for perhaps a lot of perhaps a lot of folks, but yeah, perhaps a lot of folks out there. It was your return to the work day, to the old workstation, to the old place of employment. And if that is the case, well, welcome back. And I hope you had a lovely Monday. I hope you had a tremendous return to normality after the holidays and all that jazz. I've got so much shit here. I don't know what's going on. I'm losing control. Like, there's really too much shit on my desk. It shows that I've literally been like on vacation a little too long, and I've been sort of popping up at the desk and doing things and then going away, but without keeping anything, without like doing any daily maintenance. So shit is piling up, and I should have done it before starting this stream. But this is where we're at right now. This is the thing. Yes. We're back. We're back once again, and I hope everything is going well, and yeah, that your week is starting off well, and so on and so forth. I had a lovely weekend. I hope you had a lovely weekend as well. I see. Look, I not to rub it into anyone's noses or anything. That's something I would never do. But I still have a full week of a holiday vacation right now, so like I'm still very much in. I'm still very much in, I'm not wearing pants mode, which is the case right now. I'm wearing my pajamas. Full disclosure, we're not going that radical, but nonetheless, I have not been, adorning any pants or anything with anything that doesn't have an elastic waist. Let's put it that way. And I only wish they were footy pajamas. So I've been relaxing quite a bit. Did a lot of cleanup this weekend. I also watched a lot of wrestling. I also played some video games. I purchased the Cyberpunk 2077. What is it called? Cyberpunk 2077, isn't that it? I think that's it. Cyberpunk 2077. I purchased that. It was on sale for 30 clams on Steam for Steel. I thought 65% off. I was like, all right, you know what? Sure. I'll do it. I've been reading quite a bit about how the patches and whatnot had really fixed the game and made it enjoyable and playable and all that. So I was like, yeah, it was always a game that always intrigued me. I was like, I knew eventually I was gonna be like, I'll pull the trigger at some point. And I pulled the trigger. I pulled the trigger there. And I'm glad they did it. And I'm multiple things that I'm glad on. I'm mostly glad that I waited before jumping in, because the last game that I purchased sight unseen was No Man's Sky 2019. Yes, I was one of the suckers who fell for it and pre-ordered the game. Actually, I was very, very hyped about the game, and I was extremely angry when it was released. So I decided, like the lore, the WarrenHayes lore is that from that point on, Warren has never pre-ordered another game ever. I've never ever pre-ordered another game. Like, just whoop. I was very, very happy to get I was very happy to get the I was excited to get the No Man's Sky, and then everything just like it just nosedived and it was terrible. Once you started playing, you started realizing that the game wasn't finished. Now I'm a little more. Now it's a different story because I think No Man's Sky in 2025, 2026, or at least in 2025, because I haven't played in 2026 yet, is an incredible game. It was absolutely not finished when Hello Games pushed it out, which is a shame. But with the extra years that they've put into it, it has truly become a spectacular game. And but it nonetheless burned me at the time. So I'm like, well, maybe so, it would appear to me as though the Cyberpunk experience is similar. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's like, it's Grand Theft Auto, but with magic, right? Like, the net running stuff. It's like, it's magic, right? I know it's not magic, but you know what I mean? Like, it's powers. It's Grand Theft Auto with powers. Yeah, look, I think the mocap is great. I think the actors are very good. I'm not that far into the story yet. I just got introduced to Keanu Reeves' character, which I wasn't expecting was going to go down like that, but here we are. Yeah, it's we'll see how it goes. So that's the long and short of it for this post-holiday weekend. But I mean, there was a lot of wrestling to watch too, which I enjoyed for the most part. At least I've been selective on things, right? I haven't been watching stuff from top to bottom. But I, like the Wrestle Kingdom, of course. That was it's a show that was both excellent and a mixed bag. Like, anyway, I don't want to get too deep. Excuse me. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds because I do have a full review of the Wrestle Kingdom already. It's all set. It's done. It's available right now in early access for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. There you go. However, if you are a member, you right now you have access to my full review, which I'm not necessarily going to get into, right? We might talk about it obliquely, so it's like if anyone's hopping in and saying, oh boy, Warren is going to review the Wrestle Kingdom. No, that's done, brother. And unless you're a member, it's going to be out this week with the rest of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. So you're just going to have to wait. But if you can't wait, just join the channel, become a member. The join button's right there, and it will be my pleasure to welcome you aboard. And then you'll get all sorts of early access stuff. There you go. But look, we've got such a packed stream tonight. There's so much to cover. I wasn't even kidding, right? So even outside of Wrestle Kingdom, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff happening. And look, you'll see it when I get the doc up. When the docket, once I gets that ups, you'll see for yourselves. It's a packed show that we have, a packed stream that we have for tonight. So I hope you're into it. I hope you're excited. I hope you are feeling good and that you're ready to go. And I'm extending all of these, very excited cheers to Meggie Okena, who is here. How you doing, Meggie? Member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Speaking of, hope you're having a good day. Nice to see you. Silver Apocalypse is here as well. Nice to see you too. Also member of the channel. We've got Hikaru, who is here too. Also member of the channel. Just here to annoy people with hot Aaron Wolf takes. Well, you've got those people all over the place. And my takes have been delivered. They've been prepared, they've been baked, they've been delivered. They're hot and piping right now and ready to be consumed. I thought of you, Mr. Warren Hayes, when I saw Coda walking down that ramp. Now, hang on a second. Now, wait just a goddamn minute, okay? I do not walk even. I do not even remotely walk with the semblance of a limp, much less like Kota Ibushi did. Now I know I'm old, but I'm not breaking down. I'm not falling to pieces here. Yet. DJ Convoy, nice to see you too. Welcome to the chat. Also a member of the channel. I heard that New Japan is completely good now and nothing bad will ever happen again since people paid a little more attention than normal over the past 2 days. Oh, of course. I mean, if you watched New Year's Dash today, you will know that you will know that without a shadow of a doubt, New Japan is back. And there possibly cannot be anything wrong with New Japan ever again. Everything's been solved today. You know, everything's been solved. You know, you get rid of the Bullet Club. You let Yuto Ice cut a promo, and voila, let Andrade wrestle. Everything's okay. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Have Callum Newman be have a boo-boo face. Those are the key elements right there. Those are the key elements to true success in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We'll talk about all of that in more in extent. Yes, that's part of what we're going to be doing today. Thank you for being here, Convoy, my man. Obscurity Knox, nice to see you and welcome. No, I will not. I've heard, speaking of Cyberpunk 77, has anyone ever listened to Hechicero's theme? Holy hell, what a banger. It is very good. The one he has in AEW is tremendous. I've heard Cyberpunk is good. From what I've seen, it really is. And the DLC good. From what others who have said, who have played it. Look, everything that I've heard is like, yeah, like the game is good. The story is great. It's just like technically it was a bit of a mess. Now, if they've polished that off, well, then we'll probably have something tremendous on our hands. I'll let you know as we go along. Is ESPN on the docket today? Very briefly. But yes, unfortunately. Pete Davies? What the fuck? What are you doing up? Member of the channel on top of that. Nice to see you, Pete. Actually able to be awake for a live stream once. Nice to have you. We're glad to have you around, Pete. Mr. Antox, nice to see you as well. ESPN should be off the docket. Well, they're off the rails, I'll tell you what. The Karate, nice to see you and welcome. We got to your review of Wrestle Kingdom, but have you reviewed Nakamura's 45-second promo on SmackDown yet? What a bunch of motherfuckers. Like, let's be real, okay? Let's just be let's be real. All right? We all know amongst ourselves, right? Because we all know that Shinsuke Nakamura was not going to be on the show, okay? But I think him flying to Tokyo and, going there to hang out and celebrate with his friend and maybe go, knock back a couple of beers after, that would have been very nice for him. But for some reason, inexplicably, suddenly, Shinsuke Nakamura, that this company never fucking uses, suddenly had an absolute necessity for him to be at SmackDown for a 1-minute promo. Come on now. Like, it's not even a question of, oh, well, Warren, he wouldn't have been on the show anyway. That's not the point. It's not even a question of whether he's on the show or not. He probably just would have been there. just backstage, hanging out, or just going to meet not Shinsuke, but Tanahashi after, you know. And here's and we're gonna get this out of the way right now. The bunch of people sympathizing and going, "Oh, poor Shinsuke. You know, WWE, they're so shitty to him," and so on and so forth. This is the bed that Shinsuke Nakamura has made for himself. And he's been sleeping in this bed since what, 2016? He's been sleeping in this fucking bed for just about a decade. And he has had, as far as we know, at least 2 opportunities to change the bed. And he decided not to. I mean, I don't know how much sympathy I can have. It sucks. It sucks that his employer decided to do that to him. I think it's awful. But do I feel sympathy for Shinsuke? No, not really. Like, if he hasn't figured it out by now, he never will. And now people are very, very excited for him to not re-sign when his contract comes up. Look, things can happen over a decade, right? And maybe in this kind of event right here, that could be enough for him to go, fuck these people, right? This could be I don't know Shinsuke from a hole in the wall. I do not know this man at all. But let's say I'm working for a company for 10 years. Let's say I try to bring that down to my level, right? I'm working for a company for 10 years. They never need me, let's say, in the office, right? And it's my mother's funeral. And then it happens to be on a Thursday. But then they book a meeting on the Thursday that I absolutely have to be there for, and it's a 15-minute meeting. And I tell them, look, it's my mother's funeral. We really need you for this 15-minute meeting. Can I call in? No, you really have to be here in person. I'd probably reconsider working there. You know? Now, I know no one died. This was just like a celebration, a party. Okay? That's fine. I get it. But, maybe this is enough for him to pull the plug. The point being is that maybe he will decide to shed the WWE and move on and go back to Japan and maybe do stuff there, get a hero's welcome in New Japan or whatever the fuck, I couldn't tell you. But I also would not be surprised in the fucking slightest if he re-signs with WWE. But as it stands, I don't have sympathy for him. These are the people he works with. He knows who they are. He has worked for them for just about a decade now. He knows what he's gotten himself into at this point. If he hasn't, it's about time he fucking wakes up. Anyway. AEW1, nice to see you and welcome to the chat. Has anyone here played Thank Goodness You're Here? Also a member of the channel, by the way. Has anyone ever here played Thank Goodness You're Here? If you've got 70 minutes to spare, it's well worth your time. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I'm a cheap ass gamer. I'm just waiting for a proper sale. That's all. But it's on my list. Jay Luthi, nice to see you and welcome. Don't feel bad for Nakamura. Dude wanted to hang out and surf. And that's what he got. How much sympathy do you think New Japan has for Shinsuke Nakamura after the whole Jeff Cobb mess? What was the Jeff Cobb mess? I'm sorry. How much do you think has for Shinsuke after the whole Jeff Cobb mess? There was no Jeff Cobb mess. I don't know, unless there's something I don't know. But if we're talking about his departure, there was no mess. It's just, outside of WWE, if I'm just thinking back at everything, if you mean WWE pulling Jeff Cobb from his last dates for New Japan, then yeah, that's messy. I agree. It's a little fucked in the head. But the idea nonetheless is that everything was above board. Like, yeah, and Jeff Cobb really had a crisis of conscience. He wasn't sure what he should do. But yeah, if that's what we're talking about, then yes, I agree that was not cool. Pedro the Fifth, nice to see you and welcome. Can we talk about how Naito made Tanahashi's post-match about him? That's my ingornable. I mean, I don't know why people are upset about it. He did this in the most Naito way. He did it in the absolute most Naito way. And by the way, he got one of the biggest reactions of the night on the card. It's like he got one of the biggest reactions of the night when his fucking music hit, you know? Like, come on now. But it's the most Naito thing. I don't know. I don't have. I just realized I don't have my water. Oh, I left it in the kitchen. We're gonna have to remedy that in a second. Yeah. I mean that's just that's just it's so wild. It's weird. Actually, it's really weird. It's the most Naito thing, but I don't know why people are mad. It's Tetsuya Naito. And if they didn't want to do it that way, they could have done it a million other ways, you know? That's all. I was reading they released Carlos, Sports and Things Shows. Nice to see you and welcome. Newman versus Ospreay is going to be good along with the United Empire split. I mean, they got something cooking here. We're going to talk about it. I was reading they released Jeff Cobb early from his contract as sort of an act of goodwill. Yeah, okay. See, now you are correct. That's right. I knew I was like, I felt like I was missing something, but yeah, the thing is that the thing is that WWE agreed to, like WWE wanted Jeff Cobb earlier, and New Japan was like, oh yes, and in a sign of goodwill, we will let him go if you let and hopefully this will be a show of good faith in regards to you allowing us Shinsuke Nakamura, and that's well. The only thing that's a mess with Jeff Cobb is where he's at currently in WWE. I mean, where else was he supposed to be? 40-plus-year-old Jeff Cobb, you know? Where else were you going to put Jeff Cobb on the card? As a world challenger? No, it makes no sense. Now we know broken femur coda is faster than veteran knees. Oh, man. All right. We've got a good one. I think we've got a really good stream tonight, and we're going to get into it, but I can't believe I didn't bring my water. I forgot my water. So I'm going to do myself and eventually yourself a favor. If I don't have my water, my throat is going to close up on me, and that's going to be a disaster. So I'm just going to run into the kitchen, grab the water, come sit back down. Bear with me for a second here. I'll be right back. And you'll also get to see my pajamas on top of that. Win. All class. All class. No butt flaps. I know. See, I'm always careful of what I wear in case I do need to stand up. Just in case. All right. Well, we are well on our way here to having a lot of stuff to talk about. There is a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to cover quite a bit here. Don't you worry. Don't you fret, my friends. We've got all of this covered. Thank you so much. Okay, so I already did the Wrestle Kingdom pitch. It's available right now for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord. So join not the Discord, the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. So it would be my pleasure for you to jump in and join. It would be fantastic, and I'd be glad to. It would be a thrill to have you, actually. Otherwise, you can subscribe to the channel. You can join me and become a subscriber and never miss a thing. The streams, the videos, the podcast, the whole 9 yards. The AEW review, which will be back to its usual Thursday time this week. Are you excited about that? You goddamn better be. The Monday streams, the Thursday streams, you won't miss a thing. So if you're new here, please consider leaving a subscription. And while you're at it, since you're already here, leave a like on this video. I know you haven't. I absolutely know you haven't. So leave a like on the stream right now, you geeks. That's what you need to do right now. Just press the little thing to give the little thumb thing, and we'll be able to get on our way. But honestly, thank you all very much for being here, for sticking around for this past year and into this new year. It's been fantastic, and honestly, I kind of say that. Hey, Kristen Ashley, nice to see you and welcome, darling, member of the channel. On top of that, hello, welcome. I kind of say this. I used to say this more often, and I don't as much, and I don't know why. But I guess with the new year being a time of reflection and so on and so forth, I just want to extend my gratitude to everyone who shows up live on streams, whether they be on Mondays or Thursdays or both. Who join me on the VODs or watch some of the edited videos or watch the reviews. It's always very humbling to have an audience, to have people who come in and interact with you, with others, that share their opinions, who basically create the community that I've kind of always wanted around pro wrestling. And that people feel attracted enough to that to want to be a part of it, and I'm extremely appreciative of that. It's always been like my number one goal, that is to create a spot where we could just where like-minded individuals could just come together to share their love of pro wrestling. And that's I think I've been doing a bang up job, but you all make it worthwhile, and I want you to know that I take the time to say hello to you all on every stream, everyone who shows up, because it's the least I can do. It's the least I can do. If you take the time out of your day to come and listen to me talk about pro wrestling for a couple of hours, the least I can do is say hello and thank you, right? I'm not the biggest streamer in the world. I'm not the biggest YouTuber in the world, but then again, that's never been the goal. So thank you again, everyone, for hanging out here for another year, and let's hope we can keep hanging out for a full 2026. Well, I did say hello to you. It's on the record. It's right there. Why are you yelling at me? You could just scrabble back. It's right there. It's recorded. I'll be 100% honest. I'm not all that into pro wrestling anymore, but I'm 100% into supporting some Warren Hayes. Thank you so much. Obscurity Knox, pal. You fanboy. Thank you so much. All right. Enough of all of this soppiness. We have to jump in. Enough of all of this emotions and feelings. We need something hard now. We need to get back into something that is going to toughen us up. And I know just the guy.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Jacques Moliere. Just let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nunchuck master, and I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling.
Hoo-yah! I hope the Molieres are having a happy new year. I really do. I want to know how their Disney vacation went. I really do. I hope it was pleasurable. And look at this doc, folks. Look at all of this. Look at this docket we have here. Like, we've got so much stuff to cover. Are we excited? Are we ready? Are we good to go? Well, yeah, we're ready to go. Now, look, it's been a point of discussion in the chat, and I was pretty sure people were going to ask me my opinion on it. So we're gonna drain the ulcer, okay? And we'll never speak of this again, because there's really no reason to do this. And I will reduce the brightness on my screen here because it's pretty bright there. That's better. Okay. ESPN has released its Wrestler of the Year awards. Now, I don't have many thoughts, okay? Because here's the thing, is that if you haven't seen this, right? If you haven't seen it, you will understand why there is no discussion to be had here. Okay, this list has been put together by Andreas Hale. Well, Andreas Hale is a WWE first guy. He's one of these wrestling experts, okay, who manages to get these jobs here. He's a WWE first type of guy. Okay, it's fine. So the stuff you're going to see here are what the stuff that they came up with is not made by ball knowers. This is not by people who know about pro wrestling. These are people who know about WWE, right? And the choices that they made are, batshit crazy, if you ask me. But that's it. It's like, I don't have any deep thoughts, and I'm not even going to get angry at. Like, there's nothing to get mad about because it's so outrageous. Where all you can do is snicker and laugh, right? Men's Wrestler of the Year, Dominic Mysterio, like that disqualifies you from ever being considered seriously in a wrestling space ever. If this is what you decided was a real thing. If you think in 2025, Dominic Mysterio is the best wrestler on earth, I got nothing to say to you, right? Stephanie Vaquer, Women's Wrestler of the Year. Don't get me wrong. I like Stephanie Vaquer as much as the other guy. Did she have the kind of year where she is a Wrestler of the Year? No, absolutely fucking not. She is not. Especially in a year where you've got Saya Kamitani over in Japan, who is outdrawing every male fucking superstar in professional wrestling in Japan. Like this, it's bonkers. It's just nuts. Tag Team of the Year, FTR. I mean, that's everyone's default. When it's like, oh, well, we can't give it to the Usos and the Bucks haven't done much. But you see, I would argue that I would still give my Tag Team of the Year to the Young Bucks. I would still give it to the Bucks. Even though FTR have had a really good year, I think the Bucks have had an exceptional year, one of their better years in a while, continuing to prove that they are probably the greatest tag team of all time. Their match of the year is completely absurd. Don't even want to talk about that. Debut wrestler of the year. Now, this is another moment where you can absolutely disqualify this list, where you can be like, okay, no, I should not be paying attention to these people because Stephanie Vaquer did not debut this year. She's not a rookie. She's not coming out of nowhere. If these were true ball knowers, if these were people who did follow professional wrestling, they would not sit here and say, greatest debut of the year, Stephanie Vaquer. Now, if they wanted to say WWE main roster debut of the year, then you're like, okay, whatever, who cares? But no, like these are people who have not watched, who don't watch Lucha Libre. You know, they'll be watching AAA and they'll say they watch Lucha Libre, but that's not what it is anymore. So, you know, preposterous stuff. Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year, Kyle Fletcher. It's like I said when the other Jokers made their list, Sports Illustrated, which was I think a better thought out list than this. I say the other Jokers, but now that I think about it, their list was better and was pretty good. I took exception to the fact that 2025 is considered by these outlets to be Kyle Fletcher's breakout year, when it was in fact 2024. And this year it was simply him establishing himself as a top guy. But he broke out last year with his feud with Will Ospreay in particular. That happened in 2024. This year has just been consolidation of the fact that he is going to be a superstar. Best event of the year, AEW Revolution. Sure, I thought Double or Nothing was a better show. Best storyline, Tony Storm versus Mariah May. I can understand why they really liked it. Best promo artist, Paul Heyman. See, like that's all there is to say. Like there's too many things on this list that immediately disqualify it from any serious consideration. Like if this was just simply, right? If this was just simply, you know, best WWE wrestler or whatever, that's fine. You know, it is what it is. You know, I don't want to go too hard on Andreas because he's also the guy who gave, you know, a B grade to WrestlePalooza and got his, you know, almost got his head torn off, right? So it's not but he's a WWE first type of guy. And whatever he looks for in wrestling is sports entertainment related and doesn't make any sense. So a C. That's right. He gave it a C. But that's true. He gave it a C. Apologies. See, I had already relegated that to memory. The point being is that he's been hard on WWE. Maybe this is him. Look, the point, I don't know. I don't want to get into his head. There's no point in trying to break this down any further. But it's an unserious list by someone who you should not consider seriously for knowledge of pro wrestling. It's absolutely preposterous. This is for the dopiest of Twitter WWE fans, and I'm sure they're happy and bouncing around, and WrestleVotes is going to spend an hour on their podcast breaking all of this down. So there you go. So let's jump in then. So AEW. Let me say that again. I was going to say something and it was going to be wrong. Fightful Select today, the day we're recording this, which is January 5th, 2025, announced 3 departures from All Elite Wrestling. 3 people whose contracts were not renewed and are effectively gone from the company. Those 3 people being Alex Abrahantes, Matt Taven, and Mercedes Martinez. You just got to do the joke. You really don't have to, but you know, that's the kind of person I am. Would you like me to give you some quick thoughts? I will give you a few pithy thoughts overall. Alex Abrahantes being gone. Look, I know it is the uncool thing to say bad things about Alex Abrahantes after he got allegedly he received some death threats from wrestling fans, which is preposterous. Don't get me wrong. Like, why would you do that? You know, it's like, I don't like Alex Abrahantes' TV presentation. I thought he was a complete and utter geek. I was of the opinion that anyone who he was associated with, he made immediately less cool. When he came out with Mascara Dorada at World's End, Mascara Dorada and Bandito right in the pre-show, I was like, oh, this sucks. Like now they're officially not as cool. Look, I don't know what this guy didn't add much. He didn't add much. I've seen some absolutely wild things, you know, when, you know, people reacting to it, to the news of his contract not being renewed, and said, you know, I thought he was such a solid manager. You know, I don't know why he wasn't given more TV time. I'm like, a solid manager. What kind of solid work has Alex Abrahantes done as a manager? And no disrespect, you know, his peak in AEW was the Penta Says stuff, which was legitimately good. I thought that was legitimately good. But that's been like, what? We're 3 years removed from that now? 3 years removed, I think, from that kind of stuff. I don't know. He's never done anything for me. I know he was on the Spanish commentary for a while. He was probably quite good at that. What do you want from me? I've got nothing. Okay, the overall arc of these three releases, not releases, but departures. The overall arc is it will have no impact whatsoever on AEW and its presentation moving forward. Is that a mean thing to say? Maybe, but it's also real. You know I'm not being like very empathetic right now. It sucks because 3 people are out of a job. Don't get me wrong. That I feel for. But for me, as a watcher of AEW, as someone who follows the show on a week-to-week basis, Alex Abrahantes, Mercedes Martinez, and Matt Taven were not any kind of core component of the show that will leave a gaping hole, or even a golf course sized hole. Like, ultimately, these are all like, okay. And so the wheels continue to turn. What do you want from me? Like, it's like, I think that's a very sane way of approaching it. I don't think I'm being, Chad, am I being too mean? I don't think I'm being mean. I don't think I'm being outwardly evil about it. It's just like, well, they were not important parts of the show. They were, apparently the last time we saw Mercedes Martinez on AEW programming was in 2023. Yeah, I know she's done some Ring of Honor shots since, but 2023 is like, okay, well, you are not part of this. You're not part of the fabric of this. Matt Taven disappeared once the Kingdom was done, when Adam Cole ended up rekindling his flame with Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. And I mean, there you go. Like, what, I think that's the arc. It's fine. We're all going to be able to move on. Am I glad they lost their jobs? No. But yeah, Alex Abrahantes being gone, I'm like, there's a part of me that goes, oh, well, at least he won't be uncool with other wrestlers that I think are cool. It's like, that's all he did. That was his big contribution. So I don't know what to say. I don't know how else to approach this other than, well, it's not that big a deal, folks, Excuse me. Yeah, Matt Taven no longer there as well. I think this is the one that even in my circles has caused the most discussion. And it's really funny because there are people who are very, very pro Matt Taven. And then there are people like me who are completely indifferent to Matt Taven. I don't hate Matt Taven. I'm just like, I look at Matt Taven and I ask myself, what does Matt Taven do? What does he have that 50 other guys like him do not? And I can't put my finger on it. I do not know what's so special about Matt Taven. So could he look? He's a solid worker. Don't get me wrong. He's a guy that in the role that they had given the Kingdom at the time, which was, mid-card jobber team, that would get in there, do what they needed to do, but, would never really win any matches, would put over the stars. He was perfectly fine in that role. There was nothing wrong with him in that role. And I think it suited him. Like, I never quite got Matt Taven, Ring of Honor World Champion. And even to this day, I still struggle. I'm like, I still wonder again, what was the appeal? What was the thing that made Matt Taven so special? I don't understand it. It's just a guy that I'm completely indifferent to, right? Just completely indifferent. So, the fact that he's no longer employed is, again, it sucks, but what's next? It's like, what is next for him? I wouldn't be surprised in the least, by the way, that he ends up with some kind of coaching job, either for Ring of Honor or for up on main roster. Listen to me. AEW proper. I think he's because it's not that he's not talented, and it's not that he's a good wrestler, don't get me wrong. It's just like the whole package, the presentation, everything he does is just like, well, what sets him apart? And I can't put my finger on it. But if you wanted to keep Matt Taven hanging around to help these rookies out, to help these new people that you're grooming in Ring of Honor to hopefully become, AEW attractions, you could do a lot worse. You could do a lot worse than having a guy who's been extremely reliable from top to bottom, from start to finish, for years upon years upon years, solid professional wrestler. You could find a lot worse out there than Matt Taven. But as a Wednesday night TV performer, Matt Taven, I'm sorry, I don't see it. And I hadn't seen it back when he was on top of Ring of Honor. I questioned. I was like, this is weird. I don't understand it. But you couldn't take away the fact that he was a solid worker. But he was just missing that thing. So, moving on to something else for Matt Taven. Now, will either of these two guys, I didn't talk about it with Alex, so might as well lump them both in together. Will either of these two continue to find work somewhere else? Again, like you see the environment that WWE has created. Like there would be a time where it'd be like, yeah, Matt Taven, TNA he would feel so perfect in a TNA setting. But now that it's NXT TNA or WWE TNA, do they even want him? But there would have otherwise legitimately been a time where you could say to yourself, Matt Taven, a perfect fit for total nonstop action. But since the WWE stuff, I don't know anymore, because all TNA is a proxy. It's an extended tendril of AEW, of WWE, right? And Matt Taven has done AAA shots in the past, so you could be like, oh well, he could always go. again, it's NXT Mexico now, so who cares? So you see what I've been telling you about the problematics, the ultimate problematics that what with WWE like becoming like the overlord of TNA, what it creates as far as a problem for people to, as far as the ecosystem for places to work. I guess it could go to MLW, but even MLW feels beneath him in this part, in this situation. I swear he'd be a perfect shoe-in for TNA. And Abrahantes, well, I don't know. What do you do with Alex Abrahantes? What does he even do? Like what does Alex Abrahantes even do? You know, he just jumps around and is that all? Is that the only contribution? Does he wrestle? Like what? I don't see what he has to bring to the table. You'd be better off with the Jose the assistant at that point. You know what I mean? Because at least Jose can wrestle and he looks good without a shirt on. Just throwing that out there. Slam Hub Wrestling, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. What happened to Mike Bennett? See, that's the question I was asking as well. It's like, why release? Why not release, but why let the Taven's contract expire? Why not Bennett? Then I'm wondering, well, is there injury time that's been added? Is there anything that might explain it? Because why would you keep one more than the other? What does Mike Bennett bring more to the table? Now, I would say, personally speaking, I would say Mike Bennett has a little more something to give from a purely presentation aspect, like to be on television. I think Mike Bennett has more to give than Matt Taven does, personally. I think he's, the time that he spent in WWE and whatnot, I think he's kind of honed a sense on how to be on television and how to act. I think he's more charismatic than Matt Taven overall, so paternity leave. Yeah, that makes sense, right? So, you're not going to fire a guy. Well, you're not going to fire a guy while he's off having a child. Whenever Maria Kanellis has a baby, it always spells disaster for their employment. Have you noticed? It's always like a bad omen. No, I know you're guessing. Well, I'm guessing too, but it's the thing that makes the most sense. You're right, Jay Luthi. Delirious was Booker in Ring of Honor at the time, so maybe he does have an easier into TNA than I thought. I hadn't thought of that connection, but you are absolutely right. Anyway. You need guys to be geeks who put over cool guys. He was good at that, but if they want someone else for that, it's fine. You know what the thing is that, there's a lot of things that can come into play here. And a lot of things that we're just not privy to and we'll never know the full story on. And I'm just throwing this out there, okay? I want to emphasize the fact that I have no knowledge of any contract situation or how anything was discussed, okay? There's the preface. But like the Cora T just said, Cora T, excuse me. You need guys to be the geeks to put over the other cool guys. And yes, he was good at that. But then at some point you're like, well, on my salary table, this is what doing that job is worth. Now, let's say Matt Taven saw his contract coming up and said, you know what? I want a little more. He sat down with Tony Khan. He said, Tony, I think I deserve a raise. And Tony's like, well, you're a lower mid-carder who loses all the time. I think I'm paying you handsomely for what I am requiring you to do. And maybe they just got to an impasse as far as contract negotiations went. And that was it. Maybe that's all there is to it. That, he just couldn't do it. Maybe that's it. We just don't know. He could have sat down and said, hey, I want more money. But Tony's like, you know what? I can't. Not for what you do for the company. Conrad from Everything Pro Wrestling. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, and Happy New Year to you as well. Hope you have a lovely year too. And finally, Mercedes Martinez, of whom I have always been a pretty big fan. Will Davis, nice to see you and welcome, brother. Member of the MrWarrenHayes Show channel on top of that. It's great to see you. Mercedes Martinez, I have always been a big fan. I have always been a huge fan of Mercedes Martinez. I even interviewed her a couple of years ago after she was released from NXT. And for me, that was a big deal because she was a wrestler I always appreciated. Even got to meet her in person on top of that, which doesn't happen a lot with pro wrestlers in my case. And look, I don't know exactly what the story is. I know she got injured for a while, right? There were some matches that she had in AEW, when she was appearing more regularly that just, I think kind of underwhelmed a lot of folks. She was a great get at the time I think if we recall, if I'm remembering correctly, she was the Joker in the first women's casino gauntlet battle royal. And then but then WWE called and she decided to take the contract there and go work there for a while. Right. And then the stuff with Retribution didn't work out. Don't blame her. She put her foot down and said, I don't want to do this. This idea kind of stinks, folks. I don't think I'm going to do it. Bless her heart. And it turned out it was a very good idea to do because only one person has survived with their employment still intact in WWE, and that's only because Mia Yim was rehired by Paul Levesque. At this point, so and I was thinking about it and talking about it with people, and there's this overall question where it's like, well, okay, she wasn't able to WWE wasn't able to do anything with her, quote unquote. AEW wasn't able to do anything either. So, where is the problematic at this point? Where is the issue? I again, I have no idea what happened. I couldn't even tell you, but you do wonder then, is the issue maybe more centered around the person than anything else, right? Is the issue more talent side than it is with the promotion not knowing what to do, right? It's a question that I often ask myself when it comes to wrestling talent who have been around for a while and are very good, but haven't been signed. And you have to wonder, well, then the problem must lie within the specified talent, right? And I mean, look, she's getting older. She's banged up. She's had her fair share of injuries. She announced a few days ago that 2026 would probably be her last year in wrestling. It's like, Maybe it's just something where it's like, yeah, you know what? I did everything I could and I've made the money I could make in pro wrestling. I'm sure she was very smart with her cash. She didn't go, burn it all away. Between working for the two biggest American wrestling promotions, she's unquestionably made, a nice little nest egg for herself. She, as far as we know, she hasn't been going around collecting Ferraris, right? I think she's been very smart with her money moving forward. And if this is her last year, she's had a very long career. She's like, 25? It's got to be 25, 26 years, maybe something like that. She's been wrestling for a long fucking time. So, I don't think it would be, I don't think anyone would be disrespected. I don't think it would be a bad idea for her to just say, thank you, I'm done. Well, that's what she's planning on doing. And I think there's nothing for her to be ashamed of. And it's tremendous. And, it's tremendous that she'd had that long a career. Not tremendous that she's losing a job, of course. But again, it's someone who is so detached from anything that we've been seeing on AEW, and no one, no one has been going around, and it's the same thing for the two others, no one has been going around saying, well, AEW needs to push this person more, or just put them back on TV. The television is in dire need of more Mercedes Martinez or Matt Taven. No one is saying that. So yeah, I mean, what would be her, what are her next steps? I think she's just going to hit the indies, and she's going to pick and choose her bookings for this last year. I wouldn't be surprised that some kind of what's what I'm looking for? Some retirement match. Jesus Christ. That's all we've been talking about for the past week or so. I couldn't even think of the words retirement match. She's going to have I think she'll have some kind of retirement match somewhere on the indies towards the end of the year, and to put a pin in her career. And there you go. I mean, I think that's it. And she'll be fine. She'll be fine. Oh, she could most definitely and show up in Eve. She and Dan get along swimmingly. Dan Reed. She's worked for them before. It's just a question of, does she want to do the travel? Like I said, she's gonna be choosy about her final bookings, and that's okay. That's what I'd do in her place, right? Just pick and choose. Don't have to work everywhere, and call it a career. So there you go. So those are the 3 AEW releases, not releases, departures, contract expirations. Wish them all the best of luck moving forward. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is some kind of disaster. It's just, it is what it is. Good luck for them. Good luck to them moving forward. Honestly, in the new year, only having 3 non-renewals is fairly surprising. I guess Jericho is the big loss. Probably. He's the rumors he's showing up tonight, right? On Raw, I think. In all honesty, I just think there's some gimmicks that aren't loss proof. They don't work unless you're a top guy girl. Sure. I think Mercedes suffered from overcrowding, too many mouths to feed. I got competitive. And look, I mean, she's older, I think it's mostly the injuries. She's had a lot of injuries. She's been banged up most of her career. So there you go. WWE has also proceeded to release a person, someone. Brinley Reese. Ah, yes, Brinley Reese. NXT stalwart, superstar. This person here. She has announced her departure from WWE following a 10-month absence due to injury. The 25-year-old, real name Brianna Ruggiero, posted a statement to social media on Sunday confirming that she is closing my chapter with the company. Reese noted that the decision was necessary to prioritize her long-term health. Reese has not wrestled since March 2025 and underwent shoulder surgery in May of that year. In her statement, she wrote, "After 3 years, I am officially closing my chapter wrestling at WWE. This decision came after navigating personal health challenges and a serious injury that requiring surgery last year. It wasn't an easy choice, but it was a necessary one, choosing my health, my body, and my future first. That choice alone has been one of the most powerful lessons this journey gave me." She added that while this is the end of her time in WWE, she views it as a redirection rather than an ending. Ruggiero was signed by, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, was signed by WWE following the SummerSlam tryouts in Nashville in July 2022. A former cheer captain at Sacramento State with a background in tumbling, she made her in-ring debut in September 2023. I don't know what else there is to say about Brinley Reese. Again, like we've seen this with a couple of NXT departures from the NIL people, right? The people who don't come from wrestling backgrounds, right? Who get these injuries and then they're like, you know what? Fuck this. I am not going to start working, every week with a hurt shoulder, then getting surgery on it, then going back to doing the thing that injured it in the first place to try and aggravate it some more. No, I'm not doing this. That's essentially what she said, right? I had to put my health, the well-being of my body or something like that first. And to me, it makes sense because I'm not a pro wrestler, but pro wrestlers, they're not made like us. They don't think like us. So they go around just throwing themselves against the mat and into other people and whatnot. And then they get hurt and they go, I'm going to work through it. I'm going to work through it. And then they get hurt and they go have the surgery and then they come back and they do it again. Because that's what happens when you have the pro wrestling mindset. But these athletes, these people who come from, college athletic backgrounds, they're like, this is nuts. I'm not going to do this. I've needed surgery on my shoulder. I'm not going to go back and do this. It doesn't make sense to me. They want me to come back as soon as possible and whatnot. So it's like, so I can absolutely understand that Brinley Reese wants to have nothing left to do with wrestling, right? She says, I'm closing the chapter on wrestling in WWE. I think she's done. Like, from the tone of her message, I think this is someone who was just closing the door and moving on. She's going to go do something else where she's not going to feel like she has to destroy her body for pro wrestling. So, and we had talked about this in the past with these NIL people that they bring in. A lot of these kids that they're bringing in are people who are at the top of their athletic powers, but also of what they're able to do in their sport of choice. That's why you get the cheerleaders, you get the volleyball players, you get the college ball players, football players who were never able to transition to the NFL and never got drafted and whatnot. They're like, well, I don't have anything left. Pro wrestling. It's a tale as old as time. This is not new, but these people they weren't pro wrestling fans growing up. They weren't the prototypical professional wrestler, I should say, that grew up, watching WWE and having dreams of their WrestleMania main event or whatnot. These are just people who wanted to continue to have an athletic career, be able to pursue an athletic career and make some good money in the process. They don't have the weirdo wrestler mentality that a lot of wrestlers are ingrained with, that, this is how the business works and you got to get used to it. Some of them are just like, no. So I'm not surprised that that we're seeing some of these people just going, yeah, you know what? No, never mind. I'm not moving forward. You're not paying me $50,000 a year for me to go fuck up my shoulder and come back to fuck it up some more. Not for $50K a year. This doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't make sense. Yeah, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. And good for her if she has other avenues, if she wants to put her education to good use. I don't know what she's going to do moving forward, but I mean, good for her. If it doesn't work for her and she's like, nope, that's it, I'm done. So be it, right? Yeah. So I'm not speculating about her going anywhere. Her message that she left on her Instagram sounds like a message that says, I am done with this. That's what it sounds like. So I've got no ideas or indications as to what her next stop could or should be. D. Owens, nice to see you and welcome. I hope I can. I hope we can keep you company on your ride home from the plane. That is awesome. Hiring athletes from other sports probably worked better back when in-ring standards were so low. It was mostly, the thing is that it was mostly football players. It was mostly college guys who's like Bill Goldberg. It was mostly football because you needed to be big, sturdy. You had to be able to lift things, and Goldberg was the perfect example of that. A guy who even went pro, but got injured and didn't have any prospects. Football was all he knew. And then he runs into Sting and Luger at a gym and they say, have you thought about pro wrestling? He says, no, what the fuck, And he starts training, and the rest is history, right? Hacksaw Jim Duggan was indeed a football player. A lot of guys were. Dr. Death Steve Williams. The correlation of and you'll understand what I mean. When I say failed football players, right? What I mean is football players who never made it to the pros or in any significant way. The transition from being a failed football player to pro wrestling happened more often than not, right? Why do you think Jim Ross would always make such a big deal out of it back when he was commentating in the 90s, talking about the athletic background that he played football for, Ohio State or whatever the fuck, right? And because that was most of the time a transition. It was a gateway to pro wrestling on that front. So it's like the football players, the transition has always been very clear, but the cheer captains, the tumblers, the gymnasts, the volleyball players, okay, that is relatively new. That is relatively new as far as recruitment pools go. And the thing is that a lot of these people, like I said, didn't necessarily grow up wrestling fans and didn't have stars in their eyes. They're just like, they just want to continue being athletes because they're in good shape. They've got, they're athletic, so they want to continue to pursue some athletic endeavors. And they're like, oh, this is an opportunity to continue to do something physical, right? But the difference as well, I think, AEW one is that sports medicine has changed so much, and just like training has changed so much than it was like back in the 80s and 90s when there was no training. Well, there was, but it wasn't sophisticated and well put together as it is today, right? So, that's why WWE continues to have to have the performance center so that they can attract NIL students who are already used to working out and training in high-tech environments with, nutritionists and physiotherapists and all sorts of high-level specialists. That's why the PC still exists. You cannot send a college football player, right, who is deciding to transition towards pro wrestling. You cannot send that guy to train in, Al Snow's fucking warehouse in Ohio. That he's going to walk in, he's going to look around, and he's going to walk out. And he's going to say, what is this fucking rinky-dink shit? And it's the same with the gymnasts and the cheerleaders and whatnot. It's the same thing. The volleyball players, all the same. They're used to a highly precise, high precision, high performance environments. You're not going to send them to Seth Rollins' little hole in the wall in Iowa to do that. No, you're going to have like a high level performance center in fucking Orlando, Florida. And they're going to be like, okay, this actually kind of rocks. Because they don't care about fucking WrestleMania and all this bullshit. These people don't care about it. They care about coming in and being able to continue to do athletic endeavors. And they're going to do it in an environment in which they feel safe, in which they feel is professional, will accompany them, properly and whatnot. And, and then they realize, oh shit, I'm working for WWE. Seth Rollins should have a school where he trains them for wrestling and being a barista. Or how to be an absolute shill. That's one of the classes. How to be a geek 101. Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. I hope you're having a good time. We're going to get into some New Japan stuff here in a second, but do consider leaving a like on this stream while you're at it. It would be very much appreciated if you did. If you could, I would love it tremendously, and I would love you back. But maybe not in the way you want to be loved. But nonetheless, it would be a certain form of love. But again, like maybe not the way you really want. You want me to love you, but I have barriers. I have a wall around me, and you're going to need to chip through it. Who, if any, are the success stories of the athletes signed to the PC? I feel like they miss way more than they hit. This is true. Bianca Belair is unquestionably their biggest success. I guess you could add, if I'm not mistaken, right? Isn't Braun Strowman 100%? Isn't 100? Let's take a look. Let's take a look instead of saying anything. Let's take a look at our boy's career here. Yeah. So Braun Strowman, I think you could slide into that category as well as being a success. But it's like, Sol Ruka. I think the jury is still out for Sol Ruka. let's see how she goes. I think Tiffany Stratton is indeed a mark of success as well for people who completely who started 100% fresh in WWE. I think Bianca Belair is the biggest success of the Performance Center. That's unquestionably their biggest success. I think Tiffany Stratton is. I think Tiffany Stratton can be positioned as a success as well. Sol Ruca, we'll see. Her injuries might hold her back. But to the point, no, there are not many PC success stories. There really isn't. I'm sorry to say. This has been a reality for years and years and years. What about Roman? Did he wrestle somewhere else? Because I feel, well, FCW. This was the territory. See, this is where it gets a little dicey, because this is FCW as the training territory, right? As the developmental, before it became NXT, right? So, do we consider Roman Reigns? So, do we consider Roman Reigns' time in FCW as PC train? I would say no, because there was no Performance Center per se. I don't know. It's hard to, we can get loosey-goosey on it, I guess. All right. We're going to talk about New Year's Dash, folks. That happened today, on the day of this recording, January the 5th, 2025. 2026. I'm gonna get used to it. Look, here's the thing. The deal here is that I will require a grace period to get out of the 2025 beat. Okay, I am going to necessitate a period of time where I get used to saying 2026, because the reflex is going to go to 2025. So look, I don't necessarily want to break down, every match, in detail and go into stuff. But there are a lot of things that happened on this show, on the New Year's Dash, that we should talk about. It was an eventful show, a newsworthy show. There's multiple things that happen, right? But let's say we break down, if we break down the card, right? Lots of matches on this show. We had Satoshi Kojima, Taichi, and Tomohiro Ishii, Team 150, defeating Katsuyori Murashima, Shota Umino, and Yuya Uemura. Things to point out here. Katsuya Murashima has been one of the young lions I've been most excited for out of this batch here. That is, I'm assuming, is on the verge of heading out to Excursion. So I'm really looking forward to what he's going to be doing next. And if you didn't get excited at Murashima and Ishii trading blows and running shoulder blocks, I don't think you have a pulse. You may be a corpse. I'm just saying. That got me right in the feels. So that was a highlight of the proceedings, and particularly in that match. And man, Shota Umino, he's still getting booed. He's in Otis City Gym and he's getting booed. Look, I'm going to save some thoughts regarding Shota Umino when the context becomes appropriate, and it's going to get appropriate soon enough. But I'm trying to dance around them so that, because without the proper context, it won't make any sense. But you know what I'm afraid of? This is what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that this alliance, this tag team that they've created with Umino and Yumera is going to end up sinking Yuya as well, or at least having some of that go away heat that Shota has with the fans. I'm afraid it's going to rub off on Yuya. They need to get Yuya Yumera so far away from Shota Umino as fucking humanly possible. It is preposterous. I mean, he comes in, he gets booed. When he returned at the end, after the main event, to when both of them came in to challenge the Knockout Brothers, he was booed again. And he was even inviting it, going, oh yeah, come on. It's like, you're a babyface, asshole. This is not what babyfaces do. Man, the frustrating part, the absolute fucking frustrating part with in regards to Shota Umino is that he's so close to nailing it. And what's missing is not teachable, I think. What's missing from Shota Umino's presentation and his connection to the audience, you can't show him that in a class. You can't sit him down with the old veterans and they try to walk him through it, right? I think he's just, as long as he doesn't have the spark, as long as he doesn't authentically believe that he is a pro wrestler, as opposed to pretending to be a pro wrestler, which is playing pro wrestler, I guess it would be the better way to put it. I don't know. I don't know what I don't think this guy will ever reach his potential. And the suck thing is that he has it. He has the potential, but he doesn't have that thing, the stuff that makes him compelling. And I think the more Yuya hangs around him, the worse it's going to be. It's poison. It's poison to Yuya Yumera. Keep him away. Yuya Yumera is so much, oh my God, he's so much better than what he's being saddled here with. So, yeah, it was a good little opener. Then we had Konosuke Takeshita and Rocky Romero defeating El Fantasmo and Shoma Kato. This was fine enough. Enjoyed the back and forth between Soup and El Fantasmo. A lot of talk in this match, which I thought was interesting in regards to whether or not Konosuke Takeshita would be back. Was he going to be a member of the New Japan roster, and come in and do tours and whatnot? Or was he just going to show up for tournaments he knows he can win and so on and so forth? And it's funny because I was thinking about this last year, and he showed up and they belted him with the Never title fairly early on, right? And he showed up on tours. He was doing stuff, and I'm not quite sure where that was coming from. I don't know if they're just trying to create some sympathy for Takeshita, and sort of establish expectations, but it's like I feel like he had already been showing up in New Japan. The whole, the thing that's unfortunate is that his entire IWGP World Heavyweight Championship run was not punctuated really in Japan, because he spent most of that time in North America because he was in the Continental Classic and he was booked that way. Maybe we're dealing with a little recency bias, but it seems to me that Soup was always around, on all sorts of tours. I don't know. Is it just me? Like, we could check really easily by heading over to the cage match, right? It wouldn't be all that hard. So, like, let's say, here, we'll zoom in a little here. And, well, let's start with this, just the career. We'll go to New Japan directly like this. So we had, okay, so of course we're not going to talk about the G1, but I mean, look, is it, you know, he did the Wrestle Kingdom show, Wrestle Dynasty, of course, Battle in the Valley. Then he was there for New Beginning in Osaka, Sakura Genesis, Windy City Riot, both nights of Dontaku. Okay, so maybe he's not doing the tours themselves, but he's always showing up for the big shows, right? Resurgence, Dominion. I mean, he didn't miss any of the big shows, right? We're acting like this, like he's Nick Nemeth, who came in, won the global title, then only re-wrestled because he wanted to drop it to Hiroshi Tanahashi. And that's the only that's the only other match he ever had in New Japan, right? I don't know. I feel like we're getting a little too hard on Takeshita, and then he works the G1, you know, fiercer than a lot of people. Let's be honest. He really did work hard throughout the entire G1. This weird and this weird anti Konosuke Takeshita sentiment that comes from New Japan fans is expressively weird. I don't understand it. It doesn't ring true to me. It's like I said on the review, you know, if New Japan fans don't appreciate, let me say that again. You know, if New Japan fans don't like Konosuke Takeshita, then that's fine. They don't deserve him. It's like, just don't send him back. It's fine. It's kind of wild that they're unable to appreciate one of the best wrestlers on earth. I really don't understand it. Anyway, that was a good little match. Then we had Bishamon and Oleg Boltin defeating the House of Torture. I guess we can pull up our first little element. The match was all right. It's nothing to get excited about. Didn't particularly like it, of course. You know, you all know the reasons why. But Sanada here has been, he's been on a go where he's been teasing leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. Following Wrestle Kingdom, we're reading an article off of the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 online. Following Wrestle Kingdom 20, a new season for New Japan kicked off on Monday with New Year Dash 2026. I always say New Year's Dash, but it's New Year. And I always say New Year's because I think grammatically that makes more sense. Anyway. Sanada, who competed in a 6-man tag on the show, indicated that he is leaving. He carried a guitar with the message, "Goodbye, NJPW," and said he is going on a journey. This was even relayed by the official Twitter account at NJPW1972. "I'm leaving this ring for good today," Sanada said in his post-match comments. "I'm going on a journey." House of Torture, the House of Torture trio of Sanada, Yujiro Takahashi, and Yujinobu Kanemaru lost to Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Oleg Boltin at New Year Dash, with Takahashi taking the pin. There have been also rumors that House of Torture leader Evil could potentially explore free agency. If this is not a storyline, one option that could make sense is Sonata and Evil joining their former Los Ingobernables de Japón stablemates in Pro Wrestling Noah. Tetsuya Naito and Bushi just won the GHC tag team titles for Noah on January 1st. I was thinking the exact same thing before reading this article. And I think that's like the common sense, not the common sense, but it's the accepted theory that both these guys are going to be like, you know what? Yeah, let's take a little break. Let's head off and do something else. And we'll go have a little fun with, Naito. We'll rekindle the band over there. To me, it's not interesting. I don't like, as much as I am and have been an LIJ fan, I'm not a guy who is attracted all that much by wrestling nostalgia. Like, it's not something that is it's not something that you can easily sell me on. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying that it's not something I necessarily fall into. I like the novelty of pro wrestling. I like new stuff. I like new people. Rebuilding LIJ in another promotion doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't. It doesn't make it for me. It doesn't do it for me. I'm not into it. It's not something that tickles me in my bones. Just like, oh, if anything, it's like that's a shame. That's a shame that these guys felt like that all they really had is to sort of try to recapture the magic of something that existed. What is that at this point? 10 years ago? Maybe 9, 8, something like that? 10 years ago? You know, it's like everyone should be able to move on, right? It could also be a pile of horse shit too. Because every year, you know, Evil always threatens that he's leaving New Japan or that, you know, he's not coming back or whatever. Could be the same thing with Sonata here. It could all be just a typical big work. So I'm not, there's no reason to get worked up. There's no reason to get worked up because it could be a work. There's a strong possibility that it is, and there's nothing to get worked up about because it's Sonata. Because it's Sonata. It's like, all right, so long, Saya Sonata. See you later. Who cares? You know, they tried with Sonata. They tried. It's not as if he'd be leaving this company, you know, with the great unanswered question of, I wonder what would have happened if they had pushed him. We know it sucked. It stunk. It was bad. No one wanted it. And you tried. You really tried. And everyone was open. Every fucking one was open to the idea of world champion Sonata just because it was different and they were trying something else. But he just wasn't the guy. He just absolutely 100% was not the guy for the job. So anyway, that's what comes out of that match. Then we had Andrade El Idolo, Francesco Akira, and Jacob Austin Young defeating Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, and Hiromu Takahashi in a pretty good match. I enjoyed it. I thought Andrade was particularly solid in the match. Like you can tell with the way Andrade wrestles and how he presents himself and how he wants things to go. You can 100% see that this is a guy who believes in himself. Let's put it that way. This is a guy who 100% thinks that that he's the alpha, like he's the superstar. And I mean, look, he looks the part. Don't get me wrong. He's fucking yoked to the gills. He looks tremendous. He's in incredible shape. But you can tell, right? Like he doesn't want to come across as just a guy. And the way he covers people, the way he hits his moves, the way he reacts, in his little altercation with Gabe Kidd after, right? He's always like reacting. He's not just listening. He's trying to insert himself so that he can get reactions and so on and so forth, right? When it's Gabe Kidd who's cutting the promo. But he was good. He was good here. I thought it was I thought it was a solid little match, and we out of that we get the potential of Andrade versus Gabe Kidd probably at New Year Dash, the New Beginning. Today was New Year Dash at the New Beginning show. And you could do a lot worse. I think that's pretty cool. And two guys which are in tremendous shape. Again, look, Gabe Kidd looks good. Like I said, he's cut a lot of weight. He's looking really good. And I think there are reasons for that. Aaron Wolf is back. He teamed with Master Wato, Yo, and Toru Yano. Jesus Christ. To defeat the House of Torture quartet of Evil, Red Narita, Don Fale, and Dick Togo. This was, everything I hate about House of Torture happened in this match. Aaron Wolf was fine here. Nothing out of the ordinary. And are we getting are we serving up Ren Narita to Aaron Wolf for the next step? Sure looks like it. Anyway, this match stunk. Then we had it did. Then we had the United Empire quartet of Callum Newman, Great O'Khan, Henare, and Jake Lee. I still can't fucking believe this shit. Taking on David Finlay, Drilla Maloney, Shingo Takagi, and Yota Tsuji. They defeated, in fact, the War Dogs and unaffiliated troupe. Yota Tsuji came back and he brought back V4, folks. It's back. The old The old heavyweight championship belt is back. He finally did it. We can finally stop talking about it. I had stopped talking about it a while ago. I didn't even know that this was still a point of contention amongst fans. That fans were still upset that we had the butterfly belt, right? For the world championship belt. My issue was always that the lineage of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship belt was never included or recognized in the new title. The new title was an absolute fresh start, and I thought that was a mistake. And it took away a lot of the prestige, right? So that was always my issue. And as far as the belt change goes, again, like I talked about it on the preview to Wrestle Kingdom last week, I never really cared for the World Heavyweight belt. The Heavyweight Championship always looked like a prize. It looked like a fucking prize. It was a gorgeous belt, and it was recognized as being a gorgeous belt on top of that. But I had sort of made peace with it. I was like, okay, who cares? Let's just move on. I'm not going to sit here and keep reaping this. But apparently it was still a thing, because I saw so many people going, finally, my prayers are answered. I was like, were we really still talking about this? Were we? That shocked me. It shocked me at how many, I didn't know it was still an issue. Well, I guess you learn something every day, right? The point, nonetheless, that we're making here is that is despite the fact that I had made peace with it and whatnot, I'm still thrilled to see the V4 back. That makes me happy. And it's beautiful. It's shiny like it's a brand new belt. God damn. Like that, Yota Tsuji holding his promise, coming back with the big belt. Really establishing himself as a guy that you can count on. Like I'm going to grab this promotion by the horns and I'm going to move it forward. I'm going to give it direction, folks, and you can count on me. I'm going to get shit done. When I tell you that when I told Hiroshi Tanahashi, you can leave this company in my hands. I believed I could do it. I know I can do it, and I'm going to show you that I can do it. So we're on a right path, if anything. Is this going to be something that's going to continue for the foreseeable future? Here's the other thing that I talked about in my review of Wrestle Kingdom is I don't trust New Japan Creative. I don't trust it as far as I can throw it. So I'm taking everything that is happening here that might look exciting and hopeful and new and fresh with a fucking grain of salt. I have no faith in this creative. They have beat me down for the past 2 years into believing that things were going to change, that things were going to be better, that, new generation, new guys on top. And we finally seem to be peeling back. We seem to be peeling back the wallpaper to expose the beautiful paint job underneath, finally. But I want to have this conversation at the end of the year. Because last year, they completely bamboozled me. Because after New Beginning, I was slapping my hands together and I was shouting into this very microphone at how New Japan was back and how it felt great and how, it was an excellent show. And it really was an excellent show, New Beginning last year. And how they seem to be going in these really interesting directions and whatnot. And then... So again, I have no faith in this creative. I don't. They can do things to win me back. But I am extremely cautious because fool me once, etc., etc. Anyway, Yota Tsuji, he's the man. He wants to be in control. He wants to be the guy who just makes sure that that everyone is excited about New Japan. I think he's a guy who may have the finger on the pulse of what the fans want. Bringing back the big gold belt, even though I didn't know that was a problem still. A little sprinkling of AEW trashing here. Like, I think this is a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. As he should. He's a pro wrestler. He should be catering to his audience, right? And I enjoyed his initial speech when he got to the ring. And, he walked up to, that fucking sack of twigs, fucking Jake Lee, and told him, the living scarecrow, a guy who looks like he really does belong in a, he's like, he looks like he does belong in a Tim Burton movie. He walks up to him and he says, look, you come in here, you come back after injury, after years, after over a year doing jack shit. You can't come up here and request a world title shot. That's not how it works under Yota Tsuji. You're going to have to earn it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, brother. Bury this fucking son of a bitch. This fucking Jake Lee fucking asshole Joker bullshit. I don't think it's going to happen because Jake Lee attacked him after, but the sentiment is there nonetheless. So I enjoy, I enjoyed his little promo there. I thought that was pretty good. But the real story here, the real story happened after. When they were all done with the match, and the soon to be, anyway, the War Dogs crew and the unaffiliated crew hit the bricks. The United Empire stay there, and Dave Finlay, he's still pissed at Callum Newman, and he's angry at him, and he's screaming his head off at him, and he's throwing chairs, and Callum Newman is just sitting there, and he's, telling him, come get me, and whatnot. And then Will Ospreay's music hits. He comes to the ring. Big surprise. He's not wrestling. He's not cleared. He's in civilians. And he walks up, and this angle, folks, was so fucking good. This is pro wrestling. This is pro wrestling for grown-ups, is what we just had here. We saw a pro wrestling angle made for adults that challenged everything, every trope that you typically see, where you thought we were going into a different direction, and the direction we ended up taking was so wonderful because Ospreay cuts this tremendous promo, right? An absolutely tremendous promo on Callum saying, boys, and he, even before that, I'm skipping things, and I apologize. I'm doing this from memory. He comes to the ring, and he hugs Henare in a big, sincere hug. He shakes Great-O-Khan's hand very respectfully, and so on and so forth. And commentary is like, oh yeah, founding members, And then he sees Jake Lee, and he just he sizes him up, and he doesn't even approach him, right? And I'm like, that's my lad. That's my boy. Good job, Will. And did you notice that this fucking asshole Jake Lee, right? He's sort of standing there in a corner, and he sort of lifts his hand like this, like to shake, kind of just lazily lifts. I fucking hate this guy so fucking much. Anyway. And then he comes to Callum Newman, who's sitting down. He hasn't stood up. And Will takes a microphone and basically says to Callum, to all of his guys, I didn't know that my departure would leave everything in shambles, that everything would come apart as it did. And I'm sorry. And once I'm not ready to come back. There's still a long road for me to come back. When I do, I've got some business to handle in AEW, and then I'm coming back to New Japan. To a big reaction from the crowd. And I am going to support you guys. I'm going to support you. And he's talking to Callum Newman. He's not talking to the fucking sack of twigs in the back of the fucking living scarecrow in the fucking who's hanging out in the corner. He's not talking to him, even though he's supposed to be the leader. He's talking to Callum, and he's telling Callum, I'm going to help you guys, and we're going to revitalize the UE, and we're going to do it your way. We're going to do it in the way you want to do it, right? It's going to be up to you. I will support you, but I'll be here, and we'll do this together. And Callum is just like sitting there, and he is stoic. He's not saying a single thing. And then he's like, hug. And then Callum Newman stands up, and he walks over, and he gives him a hug. But he's expressionless. He's just a blank slate. There's nothing behind the eyes, And then Ospreay's like, all right, fellas, let's go. Let's throw the crowns up, and Henare and Great-O-Khan do it. And, Jake Lee pretends he doesn't know what the crowns are. I fucking hate that guy. And Callum Newman stays in the back. And they're all throwing up the crowns, but Callum is not. And Callum is picking up a chair. He's folding it and he's revving up to sort of to crack Ospreay in the back. And the crowd is reacting. But Great-O-Khan grabs the chair and he goes, no. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he's not like chastising him. He's not like, throwing a fit. What the fuck? The fuck are you doing? It's not a thing where he's like, Jesus Christ, man, you were going to attack our pal, and Henare saw it too. And they weren't like chastising. It was more like, not now. We're just like, no. This isn't the time or the place. And Will saw nothing of this. Will's back was completely turned, was playing to the crowd. And then Callum just hits the bricks. I mean, if this doesn't get you jazzed up for a match between Callum Newman and Will Ospreay, probably in a year from now, again, I don't know what to tell you. That was expertly done. This was so good. And it just, it lays out so many questions still. There are so many questions that that are still open and need to be answered. And what is the direction of the United Empire? And what are they doing? What's the next? Just brilliant stuff. So simple too. And when you don't take your audience for a bunch of fucking morons, you're able to do something which will have long-term implications that you will be able to stretch out. And look, I know they probably did it this way. Here's the thought exercise that you can have, right? You can say to yourself, they did it this way because Will is not ready to wrestle. He couldn't take any bumps, right? He probably couldn't take a chair shot. And I would say, yeah, that's probably right. You are probably right. If Will had been 100% healthy, maybe they just would have went with it and cracked the chair across his back. Maybe. But who cares? Because whatever circumstance they decided to create from this point on to build to a match that will likely happen at the start of 2027 or really towards the end of 2026. But I'm thinking, you see where you're picking up what I'm putting down here. A match where Will Ospreay is going to come in and is going to wrestle his protege and he's going to put him over big time, because that's how Will is. We're going to build this throughout an entire year, folks. We're going to see what Callum Newman is up to. We're going to see what the United Empire is up to. As long as we continue to make things more interesting than whatever Jake Lee is up to, I am completely fine with that. I fucking hate Jake Lee. See, everyone is talking about a United Empire split. I don't think the United Empire is going to split. I think from what we saw, they are planning something. There is something there. I think the United Empire is going to unify in their rejection of Will Ospreay. I think that's a much more interesting story. That they all come together, that they're finally united, a united empire, right? It's in the name, but they're finally going to rekindle their unity, their friendship, because boy, oh boy, 2025 was fucking tumultuous for the United Empire, but they're going to find all of their common ground once again by rejecting Will Ospreay, who went off to do his thing and, got the siren song from America, from the United States, and went to get the big paycheck in AEW, right? Went to do his thing over there. And just everything fell apart on there. And I think that is much more compelling. I think that's a much better story. And I think they laid the framework for that. I think this is how it's starting. Anyway, a tremendous fucking angle. Is so incredibly good. And for the first time in a long time, I am excited at the prospect of Callum Newman and what he's going to do this year. I mean, this is what New Year Dash is for. This is what this show is for. It's supposed to be a new chapter, a new season, as they say in TV, right? This is the freshest thing they've done with Callum Newman in forever. So, yeah. I mean, look, there's a full year that we have to build to this and make it entertaining, but you know, one thing at a time. Let me live in this moment for a few minutes. Fuck your mama, nice to see you and welcome. That IWGP World Championship ruined Sonata? Yeah, I'd say so. Sonata in NXT. Is there anything else besides the indifference gimmick with Jake Lee? No, there's nothing else to Jake Lee. He's a fucking dud. He's a fucking zilch, a zero. He's a bore. He is a guy I do not understand what promoters in Japan. I do not understand what promoters in Japan see in this guy. Wherever he goes, he gets put into main event situations. He's given titles, and he's pushed as a top guy. I don't understand. This is a guy who has never fucking drawn a fucking dime. This is a guy who he's got no great matches to his record. He is a bore. What you see is what you get with this guy. And he's like, oh, he's so quirky. He does things with his hands. All you want to do is see him get slapped around. Audible groans came from the Mr. Warren Hayes Show headquarters on Sunday, on the 4th, when Jake Lee came to attack Yoda Tsuji. And I'm like, this sucks for Yoda. Anyway, I talk about it on the review. You should listen to it. Wrestle Kingdom 20 review. It is available right now in early access for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Will be available on the podcast later this week. Miss Convoy, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. You can be the treasurer of my I Hate Jake Lee club. It'll be my pleasure. And I am terrible with numbers, but it will be my pleasure. I will do my part. We turning AEW into open antagonists, not heels necessarily, but always opposed on New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, I don't necessarily want to, relitigate everything because there's really a lot, but New Japan, there's a loud and substantial base of the New Japan fandom that do not like AEW because they feel like AEW came in and took all of their stars, and in their relationship that they have with New Japan, they think AEW has the upper hand and that they are not treated as equal partners. And I partially agree. I think there is some legitimacy to that. I think it's a little more nuanced than, something you just paint across the board as one universal truth. But there is some, there is some truth to it. I've even acquiesced the fact that, yes, I think AEW is the promotion that is in the position of power between the two, but that's just how it goes. That's always how it's been in pro wrestling when promotions work together. It's whoever has the higher ground, typically meaning the one that has the most money, who calls a lot more of the shots, politically speaking. It's, I don't know, like me personally, doesn't really bother me. I just see it as like another cog in all of these, these real world implications for all of these promotions. So it really doesn't bother me. and you know, Yota Tsuji wants to position himself as Mr. New Japan right now. So if he wants to, you know, what he's doing, when you think about it, is exactly what Gabe Kidd was doing last year when it comes to AEW. You will remember last year what, you know, what Gabe Kidd would be saying about AEW versus New Japan, and we're pretty much down that same path, except, you know, Yoda is doing it. Yo is doing it in ways where at the same time, you know, he's bringing the old belt back as well. You know, doing things that are big fan favorite wins to help him get over. It's just as simple as that. It's just, he's a worker who's working to get himself over as the top guy of the company. I don't know. It's this kind of stuff doesn't bother me. It doesn't super duper bother me. You know? That's why I think running them as antagonists would make sense, steer them into the skid. The one guy who thinks that it would not make sense, though, is Tony Khan. And he will not want his promotion to be seen as the bad guys. Version 4 is the second most beautiful belt after the big gold belt. I need one of those beauties in my home. They are beautiful. And I'm not even a belt guy all that much, but you have to hand it to V4. It's a gorgeous belt and big gold as well. Where were we? Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles are your new IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. They defeated Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori, Doki and Sho, and El Desperado and Kukai in a four-way tag team match. Yeah, this was really exciting. I enjoyed this match quite a bit. I thought it was really good. You know, once of course you get rid of all of the nonsense with the once you get rid of all the nonsense in regards to the House of Torture, then it just everything cruises. Robbie Eagles is tremendous. He's so good. Every time he wrestles, I think Robbie Eagles is going to. I think he's going to go down in history as one of the most underappreciated professional wrestlers of our current era. I don't think he was. I don't think he was. I don't think he's as. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for a very specific word here. I don't think he gets the adulation that a guy who works like him should be getting, and a guy who has trained so many people into being bigger, better versions of themselves, right? And look, Kosei Fujita continues to establish himself as a guy that New Japan seems to believe that they can build the junior division around. It's tremendous. Like, this was such a good little match. It was a lot of fun. So much better than the fucking four-way junior number one contender match at Wrestle Kingdom. That thing stunk. Anyway, it was exciting. It was a good little match. I enjoyed it tremendously. And then finally, the show ended with an absolute mind-blowing fucking great match where the Knockout Brothers retained their IWGP Tag Team titles against the TMDK duo of Zack Sabre Jr. and Ryohei Oiwa. God damn, this match rocked. It was so fucking good. And the last, 12 minutes of this match is just absolutely bonkers. time after, and physical and great. But you know what they were able to do? Okay, I'm trying to say too many things at once. The match itself is a high-level Warren Hayes recommendation. If you haven't watched it, you have to go out of your way to lay your eyes on it, because it was phenomenal stuff. It truly was excellent. Brutal, physical. You have the ground game as well, because you've got both. Well, you got Zack Sabre Jr. in there, but Oiwa's got his ground game down as well. And you're looking at this match go, and you're looking at Yuto Ice and Ryohei Oiwa, around which their rivalry has pretty much been established as the catalyst for all of this, right? It's really been an issue between these two guys who just don't seem to get along, really, really don't like each other. And it was pumped into this match so much. The match ultimately became the story of neither of these two guys wanting to lose to the other, wanting to just allow themselves to get dropped by the other and covered to lose the match. It was phenomenal stuff. And I'm looking at this match, and I'm looking at it go. And then I'm listening to Yuto Ice's post-match promo, which I think everyone's been talking about. And the way that Ryohei Oiwa conducted himself in this match, the presence that he had, the confidence, just being booked as an ass kicker, as this dude, this powerhouse little brick house dude, just coming in there and clubbing people into oblivion, right? And I'm looking at all of this and I'm like, how could this company not be more aware of the fucking young talent that is right there and that is exciting? I said this, or something close to it, when the Knockout Brothers debuted earlier this year. I said, this Yuto Ice guy, he's got the vibe and the energy that can change this promotion around. And now he's in a tag team. He's not a singles guy, he's in a tag team. But nonetheless, once he divests himself of Oscar, all caps Oscar, Yuto Ice, I think, is going to be unstoppable in this company. He's got an energy and a confidence and a presence that most of the dudes on this roster are unable to show, do not show, or do not have. And Oiwa has that same type of charisma, but he expresses it in a different way. He expresses it by beating the piss out of guys in the ring. And then he fires up. And people are like, fuck yeah, let's go, kid. Let's go. And I'm watching this. And I'm thinking to myself, the fuck are we losing? Why are we spending our time trying to make something out of Shota Umino? See, I told you we'd be talking about Shota Umino again. This is the context I was telling you about. Why are we spending our time trying to make Shota Umino happen when you've got these two guys right here? When you've got Yuto Ice and Ryohei Oiwa, who stole the show in this fucking match, who are always good, who are always great, and are just waiting. They're just waiting. You can tell they're hungry, and they're just waiting for someone to open up the all-you-can-eat buffet and say, knock yourselves out, boys. Go ahead. Take 2 plates as you go. Okay? Take 2 plates. Go ahead. It's unfathomable to me that we are so dead lasered focused on Shota Umino, who doesn't have it, who barely is able to show that he cares. And in the meantime, you have Yuto Ice, who is supposed to be a heel, who grabs the microphone after, who gets challenged, gets challenges from all sides in the one same post-match segment. And he's not blowing them off, but that's a bad choice of words. He's answering all the challenges with the swagger of a veteran who's been doing this for 10 years or so. And then after that, delivers the raw New Japan speech you wanted to hear. I don't know what we're doing with guys like trying to make a guy like Shota Umino happen. Why are we focused on this guy? The core group is so fucking clear at this point. The core group of guys is Yoda, Tsuji, it's Yuto Ice, it's Ryohei Oiwa, and it's and Yuya. That's your core group right there. And you're going to tell me after today, you can't develop a generational rivalry between Yuto Ice and Ryohei Oiwa? You're trying to force feed a generational rivalry with Shota Umino and other guys. You're trying to make that happen, but the magic, the spark isn't there. And yet in this encounter here, this match ended, and I was slapping my hands together clapping, I guess you'd say, hoping that they would give us more Yuto Ice and more Ryohei Oiwa moving forward. That this would be something that someone backstage circles and says, we've got to revisit this. This is our generational feud. It's so clear to me. And it's become clearer in this excellent match that they had. Ice has an energy and a presence and a vibe that no one else shows, demonstrates, or like I said, either because they're told not to or because they can't. But he has it. And people are gravitating to that. He is a fan favorite. And why isn't New Japan just like dropping everything and pulling in Ozawa here and saying, you know what? Let's just go. No, they're going to stick to these fucking rigid plans that they have. Because bookers in 2020, in our era, bookers in our era are terrified of taking risks. They have to stick to their plans. They've become rigid as opposed to being malleable and flexible, seeing what is working, what is not working, and being able to pivot on a dime. No, they have to see these plans through hell or high water type of thing. I don't understand it. This match, the post-match promo, what a great way to end the show. And this is why people are so extremely high on this show, because it finished with energy. It finished with, as opposed to Wrestle Kingdom, that finished with a conclusion, a bittersweet finish, saying goodbye to an era. We have New Year Dash starting up, saying, this is the new era. Don't worry. We got you. This new era is going to be exciting. We're not going to mourn the past. We are going to focus on the future. This is what New Year Dash ultimately ended up giving, saying, promising. Now, it is entirely up. It won't be Yuto Ice's fault if New Japan doesn't live up to these expectations. It won't be his fault. Absolutely not. I don't have any faith. I've told you, I've said it a couple of times now. I don't have faith in New Japan Creative because they spent 2 years beating me into the ground with terrible ideas, terrible decisions. Why would it suddenly change? Maybe because maybe it is the winds of change. I couldn't tell you. I don't know why they're not taking more risks. They should be taking more risks. It was phenomenal. And then the Knockout Brothers basically said, and this was something that they clarified in that they ended up clarifying a little bit in the ring, but then they clarified in their backstage comments that whatever rumors they had heard of them going to WWE are false. And does any chat, I'm asking you sincerely here. Johnny69, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I'm asking you if you can illuminate here. Where did these rumors that WWE was interested in the Knockout Brothers start? Do we know where it started? Who initially created the rumor? And I swear to God, if you say WrestleVotes, I will eat my hat. And it has to be true too. Just like I don't know where this rumor started because it didn't make any fucking sense. I don't know where it started. Ibu. All right. Anyway, let's read this article here in regards to the rumors here. In the main event of New Year Dash 2026, Oscar and Yuto Ice retained their IWGP Tag Team titles over Zack Sabre Jr. and Ryohei Oiwa. There had been rumors going into the show that WWE is interested in signing the Knockout Brothers. Without directly mentioning WWE by name, the champs addressed those rumors after their victory. Whatever rumors you might hear, we are never going anywhere, Yuto Ice said in his backstage comments. Now, never might be a strong word, but I appreciate the sentiment. The Knockout Brothers, who have held the IWGP Tag Team belt since September, were one of pro wrestling's standout duos of 2025, winning Best Tag Team in the Tokyo Sports Awards. They retained by pinning Oiwa at New Year Dash. So then we go through the angle here and whatnot. So, again, I don't know why people thought there was... I don't know how we came around to the fact that, oh, yeah, WWE might be picking them up. I'm like, come on now. Anyway, look, it was an excellent main event. It got everyone hyped up and jazzed about New Japan in 2026, and we are so back and all that stuff. I urge you to err with caution, to not get too excited until we start seeing a true pattern of really exciting new ideas and great matches and new directions that really do feel fresh. I would urge you to stay calm and not lose your minds in regards to the New Year Dash show today. It was a very different message that was sent today as opposed to Wrestle Kingdom. Like I mentioned, one closing the past, the other, sending a signal out for the future. The crowd was into it as well. They were into a lot of stuff that was happening on the show. But I got burned like fucking hell last year. And they're not going to pull that one on me again this year. I'll tell you what. WWE trademarked the name Mark Calloway Jr. for Oscar. Is that real? I don't see anything about that. Is that a joke? I mean, it's funny, don't get me wrong. It's funny. Okay, good. You see, like this is how beaten down I am by WWE and whatnot. Because I am aware that Oscar gets a lot of Undertaker comparisons. So I get but you see, this is the state of my faith in WWE and pro wrestling in general. I'm like, it's actually plausible that they might have done this. Imagine Yuto Ice wasting away in the PC, taking pins for the machine guns. Remember the Motor City machine guns? TK was happy to play heel in TNA. Yeah, I think 2021, Tony Khan was happy to do it. 2026, Tony Khan will not want to play heel. Will not want his promotion to come across as the heel. He will not want that. Some of his wrestlers, absolutely. The wrestlers who are heels. And there was one more bit of news I wanted to go over, and that is the creation of a new faction in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Double champion Yota Tsuji has introduced a new faction to the NJPW ranks. At New Year 2026 on Monday, Tsuji announced the formation of a new faction named Unbound Company. It will see former Los Ingobernables de Japón members Tsuji, Hiromu Takahashi, and Shingo Takagi officially align with the Bullet Club War Dogs after the two sides had already been working together. Quote, "There's something I need to say here today. Until now, Bullet Club War Dogs and the Independents," well, the unaffiliated, that's a translation thing, "have been working together, but that ends today. From now on, we will fight as one unit. Our name is Unbound Company, an organization that is not bound, unbound, by anyone." So it's interesting. So it's very interesting that they decided that this is what they decide to go with, and that Tsuji seems to be taking up a spot of being a spokesperson. I don't know if it's going to be like a thing where he's a leader per se, more like a. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think the question is, will he be a leader? I think it might be like LIJ, where Tetsuya Naito has always said, there's no leader here. We're just like all looking out for each other and boosting each other up. It probably might be the same vibe. It's interesting considering that a lot of the War Dogs are looking to maybe extend their influences elsewhere. They want to try some stuff out. Rumors flying around that Finley, Connors, and Maloney, they're kind of all looking for dual contracts so that they could come spend some time in the United States, work here a little bit. I know there's always the WWE rumors when it comes to David Finley, and I still don't see that happening. Dave Finley in WWE is just a terrible idea. I don't know what to tell you, but look, let's have this conversation again in February, right? Anyway, yeah, I mean, there's always the specter of these guys disappearing and whatnot, but looks like they might have this new group together. I've seen a lot of people saying rest in peace Bullet Club. I am not ready to throw any dirt on any Bullet Club casket. I don't think anyone should be putting any Bullet Club in any casket to begin with. I look again. I'm just browbeaten by this company. We'll see how it goes. I'm not convinced that they are 100%. I'm not sure they are 100%, or even like 10% gonna try and completely get rid of the Bullet Club. I don't know. I don't see it happening, is what I'm trying to say. And, like people were saying, even in the chat, right? So, the United Empire split, Well, what? Despite the fact that I think a more interesting story is the Bullet Club, not the Bullet Club, but the United Empire uniting in rejecting Will Ospreay. I think that the way Callum Newman was acting, he might end up doing something Bullet Club-ish, like you know what I mean? If the UE does split, look, I am not pushing for the death of Bullet Club just yet. Absolutely not. There's so many times that they could have just gotten rid of it and they didn't. Why would it be different now? That's essentially what I think. So, nonetheless, look, we've got this unit all together here. Yoda Tsuji, he's large and in charge. He's making things happen. He's a mover and a shaker. Let's hope he can keep this dynamic momentum moving forward. So there you go. So those are my thoughts on the New Year Dash show. Like I said, eventful show. I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. The main event is spectacular. That's an absolute must watch. You have to go out of your way to watch the Knockout Brothers versus TMDK. But as you know, you won't be. I don't think you'll be bored. There's a lot of stuff happening. Maybe it'll be a lot less surprising because there's a lot of stuff that sort of took you by surprise on the show. There's some things I didn't necessarily dive into either, like Francesco Akira, challenging Hiromu Takahashi. But there's a lot of good foundations here for at least an interesting start at the year at the very least. Kiwi Rob, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Would you say the same thing about CM Punk and AJ Lee and a lot of the signings WWE have made since Trips have taken over creative? I don't know what this is in relation to, but I'm sure I agree. But I know I'm reading it out of context, so I really couldn't say. Tommaso Ciampa topic will be discussed. I didn't necessarily put it on the docket tonight because, I didn't put it on the docket tonight because I feel like it's a rumor right now, and I don't have much to say, for the rumor going around. And I think it'd be different if it was a bigger star. Like if we were talking about Roman Reigns or CM Punk or even AJ Styles. But it's Tommaso Ciampa, who has basically been, he's basically done nothing since his call up from NXT. So I don't know what there's, I don't know what excitement there is to have. I don't know what kind of excitement there is to have in regards to Tommaso Ciampa in 2026. I don't even know. I don't even remember. I don't know if he's a good wrestler anymore or not. I don't know if he has anything to give, right? I don't know if he's got, I don't know if he's got anything, So it's like when the news came out, I posted on Blue Sky, I said there was an era, there was a time I truly would have been excited at the prospect of Tommaso Ciampa, being a free agent, leaving WWE. Then I'd be like, oh shit, okay. Now I'm like, today, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen any of his work since, oh my God, is it since the cinematic match he had with Johnny Gargano? And, that wasn't great. That's the last thing I saw of his. This is a guy who's had spinal fusion. Was it spinal fusion? It's his neck, right? No, it was his neck. But he had like very serious surgery, right? And he's just like, he's ready to, I'm sure he's not the same wrestler he used to be. Now we're years later in AEW, and like, what does he have to offer us? I'm just, it's a mystery to me. I legitimately don't know, because I have not been following this man's career. So I figured I'd wait to make it a legitimate topic, so that we'd wait to see what his decision is. And then, because it could be just like plain old retirement. So it's like, Ciampa versus Mox is appealing. Is it? I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not trying to say yuck. Like, I legitimately don't know. He's been in a tag team. He's been the Miz's fucking second, right? Like, this is a guy who was completely and utterly fumbled. So I don't know. I legitimately don't know what he has to offer. So, I'm not trying to do a bit or be facetious or try, I just do not know. Would you put the title back on Blake Monroe if she's getting called up? I don't care. What are we talking about? The women's, the secondary women's title on NXT? No, I gave my thoughts about this last week. If WWE had truly any balls, they would keep the title on Thea Hale. But no, this is also cowardly booking. So they're probably just going to revert everything back to Blake Monroe so that they can continue doing what they're doing, kind of thing, so that they can get their plan back on track. But otherwise, I don't care. I don't care. I think Blake Monroe's been suffering, so it is what it is. So did Chris Jericho return to Raw? Let me see what the Blue Sky is saying. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Oh well. The fun, I will tell you all, I will tell you this with great aplomb. If Jericho does return to AEW, if all of this was just like one elaborate ruse, I will be laughing so hard. I will be in tears. And I will have a newfound respect for Chris Jericho. Crowd was chanting Y2J during the Becky match. That's a WWE crowd for you. He's getting ready for his big anniversary tomorrow. Good respect because he worked, because he'll have fooled everyone. He will have done it again. He will have kept himself in the conversation, made things obtuse, let people make their own little assumptions, and then out of nowhere just come in and be like, boom, gotcha. There we go. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was Jericho going to WWE. Exactly. All right, my pretties. We're going to call it a night here. Had a big busy stream. And there's even stuff we didn't cover, but that'll give us a reason to reconvene on Thursday so that we can talk about some more pro wrestling then. There will most likely be new developments on various things. And we'll have more. We'll cover the topics that we didn't get to tonight. But again, thank you everyone for showing up today. If this is your first time here, subscribe. Go right ahead, hit the subscribe button, do the bell gimmick. That way you will not miss any subscriptions and not any posts, any video posts, any live streams. I'd love to have you stick around. That would be tremendous. You know, I'd love to start off the year with like a rush of subscriptions to kick off the new year. That'd be tremendous. You know, like a rush of subscriptions that I couldn't keep up for the rest of the year, and then YouTube will believe that my channel is dying. that kind of thing. So yeah, listen, I would love for you all to join me again soon. Hope you all had a great time and that you enjoyed it. Go watch some Randy Orton. Should I still do that bit, or should we change this for 2026? Maybe the Randy Orton thing was a 2025 bit. Maybe we should move on to something else, right? I'll think about it. But look, I'll leave you. I will leave you at least with one last time, maybe, quite possibly one last time. Go watch some Randy Orton and get back to me. And of course, I'll see you next time.